Hey, I'm Bob the Hound Kelly, and we're here with Nasty Knuckles, and it's a great day for a good show.
You're listening to Nasty Knuckles, the Hockey Outlaws podcast, with your hosts, Derek Nasty Settlemyre and former Philadelphia Flyer enforcer Riley Cote, as they go behind the scenes with your favorite NHL players. Time to face off.
All right, welcome back. What is happening, Nasty?
What's up, Rig Aurelia? It's a little late for you, bud. You should be in the wrapper there.
I should be. Way past my bedtime.
What's going on?
Just staying up for you, dude.
Yeah, man. I know. Hey, listen, some of us got stuff to do. I only need 3 hours sleep. You get your 12. You know, we're just different that way. We're a little different.
Yeah. You sleep in. I'm up at crack of dawn, man.
Sleep in. I got to get the little LV up and going, and that's not fun, man. This guy's all over the map in the morning, twerking, doing shit. I don't know if he's. As soon as he wakes up, I'm like, dude, stop twerking, man. I'm done with that. I don't think you should be doing
that crap, man.
I don't teach him that. I've never twerked a day in my life. I mean, I watched a couple people do it, but I've never done it.
Oh, okay, all right.
No,
that's not what he's telling me.
Just you know. I don't know. Or we might put you on waivers with Natty Ice. I mean, like you're not making the games. Like, gonna have to give Grant Garcia the call here, bring him up, send you down because you just don't seem to make any of the games. We're 5 games in. You've played 1.
Dude, you can't put me on the waiver wire.
I might have to. God,
come on, dude.
Maybe it'll send you down, play a couple games in the B division, and get you wound up to come play again. We needed you. Played the Blue Devils Sunday. You know those games, how they are. Really close game, man. Again. It was a good game, a close game. So, but you weren't there. We found a way to win somehow. But
you must have potted a couple with the toe.
I didn't. Man, I had one sitting flat as could be, as about 8 feet from the net, and I shot it 8 feet over the net. Oh, yeah? I was so mad at myself. Oh my God. Like with 4 seconds left in the period too, and I just send it flying. I'm awful. Even with that best stick made, Toby, I missed the net bad. No. I'll make up for it Sunday though. You probably won't be there. Maybe you can watch it on Live Barn.
Well, I won't be there because I'll be in Jamaica.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, big 30 for 30 star. I forgot. That's awesome. Yeah, maybe you'll make one of the games. At least you're on the roster and you're paid, so you get to play in the playoffs if you can make it for that.
Well, that's it. I'll be there.
Yeah.
When it counts.
Anyway, so since our last episode, Flyboys got a win against Washington. I know you were there for that.
Strong win.
It was a great win. Really good. Boys played super hard, man. I think they had a little incentive because, if I'm not mistaken, they had their rookie party later that night in New York City.
Right.
So you gotta come up with a big effort. I'm kidding. That's not why they won. They played great though. They played hard. It helped getting Joel back, in the lineup and brass, Derek Brassard. So that was good. And it was a tough game. And it was like a playoff type game. Unfortunately, we're not going to be in the playoffs, but it was nice. And Washington's having a tough time right now, man. They're not playing well. They haven't been playing well lately at all.
Tough loss for them for sure. Yeah, the Flyers look good, man. I was actually at the game, brought the little Rugrats there, and probably only snuck in maybe one period with all the distractions and air hockey.
You got to play bubble hockey, all that shit.
Yeah. This and that. But I did catch the first period. Obviously, a strong start. And
great start.
Great start, first shift, sniping. Tilly, first period. Yeah, good energy. It's always like you go in the second period and you wonder if you're able to carry that into the next period. But they did, and it was a big win for them. And again, keeping Ovi off the scoreboard.
Wow. That's tough to do, man.
Tough to do. Yeah. He didn't look very interested. So I don't know if there was, something going on with all the craziness in the world, but you didn't look very interested. Not the Obi that I remember, anyways.
You know what's funny? Like, I'm kind of a hockey nerd. I watch a lot, and their team seemed a little uninterested lately in their game. So I don't know what's going on there. It's not good for Lav. He's only been there 2 years, and hopefully it's not where he's kind of losing them. But like, this is the stretch where you really want to start playing well. Coming, like getting into the playoffs. Looks like they will make the playoffs. I don't think that anyone's going to be able to catch them. So it could be a quick first round out if they don't find a way to pick it up. I think they need help goaltending, but that's just me. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it would be interesting. It'd be a shame with the talent they have there. And again, I'm not sure exactly what's going on. And Labby does have a tendency to wear on guys over time. It's based on how relentless he is on certain guys and just his intensity. But it's whether it's that or just some of this side fluff that's going on around the world that a couple of their star players are dealing with. Who knows what it is, but on the Flyers side of things, they're obviously trending in the right way. The effort has been there. I mean, at least the last how many games you could say the effort's been there, but they're able to squeeze out a win, and hopefully they can build off that. They seem a little bit spotty with their outcomes, but it's a big one against a team like that. So
yeah, it was good. Give them some confidence here, and just try to win as many games as you can. That's all they can do at this point. Play hard, compete, and they're competing. I know we've been saying that, but they really are competing. So
yep,
it's all you can really ask for.
Yeah, exactly.
We're getting closer and closer to Riggs to the trade deadline. So be interesting to see, man. What happens here. This team could look a lot different in a couple weeks. For the rest of this season anyway. So
yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I'd be interested. I kind of hope something happens just for the sake of the individuals that are going to land up moving and just the team itself. There just needs to be something, something needs to happen to make sense going into next year, and also for the guys that would potentially be moved, to have an opportunity to win. So looking forward to see what happens, and I think we're ready to check out the Hound nest.
Let's get after the Hound. This guy, he scares me, man. The Hound, when he shakes your hand, he almost ripped my shoulder off. What a socket. He's a strong man. I love this guy.
Yeah, well, I guess.
He's the man. He's the man. I remember when I met him when I was a kid, him and my dad were, good buddies and always doing stuff. My dad actually worked with him for a while, one of his businesses, and he would just grab a hold of me. I'm like, you're going to break something. Because he grabbed me by the neck, and I just hear my whole vertebrae. As soon as he grabbed the hold of me, shook his hand, and almost broke every bone in my hand. But let's get after it with a Hound. He's the man.
Absolutely. Episode 64 presented to you by Curaleaf, your premium medical marijuana dispensary in Pennsylvania. Check them out at curaleaf.com. All right, Nas. Episode 64. Let's go.
Let's go.
Welcome back. I'm Riley Cote.
And I'm Derek Settlemyre. This week, we are very happy to have our good friend, Bob the Hound Kelly, 2-time Stanley Cup winner. Hound, what's going on?
Not too much. Like everybody else, we're battling through this stuff. But thank you very much for having me on. Look forward to your show. I've been watching a lot of your episodes out there, so you guys have fun. There's no question.
Yeah, for sure we do.
Try to.
We really appreciate you taking the time, Hound, and coming on. Now, there's a few we've heard a few nicknames, speaking of me calling you the Hound. Yeah. And Riles was telling me, now Machine Gun Kelly, I had heard, because Joe Watson told me you were just going so fast when you were playing with the punches. Okay. Not just your goal scoring.
And the pins.
And the pins. You got the pins going pretty hard. Your feet never stop moving. But there was a few other nicknames that came up. Riles, I didn't know if you wanted to jump on that.
May as well just jump right into it.
No, you don't have to. I know you're going right to the grass fairy. I know you're going right to the grass fairy. I don't know where that came from. It's out there. It's not not me.
Oh my God! I saw that. I was like, "Wow, Hannah, Hound, I didn't know that about
Couldn't
you,
figure
man."
that one out.
Get the grass fairy here.
That just appeared out of nowhere. I have no idea who put it up there, who launched it or whatever. But no, that's not me.
No one's ever called you that before. It was just like something that came up on.
And if you do, it's only once.
That's great.
classic.
I had to jump right into
Yeah,
that.
I know,
But Hound, obviously Riley and I see you quite a bit, and we know a lot of what you do. But why don't you tell viewers and listeners exactly what you got going on?
Well, you know what? It's evolved to a lot of different things. I mean, I've been there for 18 years now, and Mr. Snider brought me back because they had World Be Free at the time with the Sixers out there. Right. And so I thank World Be Free every day for my job that I have. And mine is mostly, we got the younger, brighter kids like you that set a lot of the stuff up that we go do. But just we're in the community, being involved in the community. Riles, you're in the Learn to Play program. Marcy, me, we go around the different rinks and help kids out. It's a lot more less stress when you're out there with the kids having some fun. But, we go from there. I get the opportunity to do the hometown hero to all the people that we owe everything to all the time. We got the Mites on Ice down there, which shows up for a lot. Do the sweet visits down there. But then we're very active in the community, thanks to Brad Marsh, because we're out there. We're always putting on different things. And thanks to the alumni and you guys for showing up to help us. We do the big golf outing every year, get 50, 60 alumni guys back. We got the walk run coming up here. Mm-hmm. Reenactment of the Washington crossing there. So that should be fun out there. Thanks to you, thanks to COVID, we don't have Friday night fights. That got canceled again. So we hope to redo that. So we're just out there trying to be involved in everything. There's a lot of grassroots things that we're doing in the individual rinks and communities. We just went down, did site visits for 5 different places down at the shore that we do the traveling caravan, going through and giving people, and then the different initiatives that everybody comes up with, we all jump in and lend a hand in there. So, no 2 days are the same, which is nice.
That's nice.
And kind of have my freedom, but, it's a lot of fun giving back to people.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I was going to say, when we're at the games, like, you're just buzzing. I mean, you're everywhere, which it's awesome. People enjoy seeing you. And, when my son did the Mites on Ice, it's great. You come down there, get the kids jacked up. Yeah. It's so cool. And, they're all like, that's Bob. I'm telling them who you are. And because they, the Mites are 7 years old, but Elvis knew who you were anyway. But it's really cool what you guys do. You do a lot for the community, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I don't even know how you have that much time to get around. I mean, you're pulled in every which direction and every which event, and I mean, how does this work? Do you have any say on some of the stuff that you're involved in, or you just kind of go wherever they tell you?
Well, contractually, we have a lot to do. Obviously, with Black Bear, we've got the 15 rinks out there. Right, yeah. Then we have a lot of sponsorships down there that host in Club Box 4. So we try to get down and get around and get in there for them. We do a lot of drawings and picks and stuff like that. So. I don't do as many suite visits as I used to do, so I can get around the building a little bit quicker. But when you used to be up top there in the loft, and then all the time you got to get down to the bottom, and you're looking at time. And now the game's so much faster, there's hardly any whistles, so you really got to step it up, keep an eye on the clock, which way you're going. But it's all good. I really enjoy it. If I didn't, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, 100%. Well, you do a hell of a job. I mean, you got the personality, obviously, right? You're good with people, or you're good in the community, and you got the background. I mean, you're one of the original Broad Street Bullies, and generation after generation still knows who you guys are, and it's amazing to see your impact in the community still. I mean, you smile on your face, and people love it, man.
Yeah, they do. They really do.
It's a really powerful thing.
You guys are very kind. I do some senior citizen visits too, because a lot of our fan clubs are in there and that. So I did a gentleman that was 104 years old. Wow. We gave him a jersey. And then I did a lady that about 3 weeks later, she was 101. I said, maybe I can hook you guys up together. You're in a couple of different places out there. Yeah. So, I mean, awesome. You get a chance to touch everything, through Brad there and the different events we do. We're going to start getting a little more involved with YMCA, helping them out. They're getting involved in some of the things that we're doing that. So the sponsorship's been really good to get people, coming on board with us. So they must believe in what we do.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And
100%.
Riley, you love that song, YMCA.
Oh, of course.
So it's perfect. I think Riley should be.
Put that on the 8-track player.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man.
But you're retired from playing with the Flyers alumni now, right, Hound? I mean, I think maybe, a couple years ago now, you're packed her in?
Yeah, a little bit longer than that.
Yeah.
There's no need. Nobody wants to watch a guy 71 years old out there skating around the ice. There's no purpose to that.
No?
No.
We're still watching Smoking Joe floating around out there.
Well, I don't think you call that smoke. I think you call that almost seizure. He's still using the equipment, I think, from 1968.
He is, for sure.
You see him in the locker room there, duct taping his elbow pads, duct taping it.
Oh, my God.
There's no way you could block a shot. With you guys today, you're fully padded front and back. You're taking shots in the back there, and Joe's not going to suck that up there. But I give him a lot of credit for being out
100%.
there. He's a diehard. He's there 2 hours before the game.
Yes, he
Takes
is.
him that long to get started. But he's the epitome of what a Flyer's all about, and the relationship he had with the Flyers organization. He had Snider all the way down there. He's just a trooper. He gets involved in anything. Loves to go fishing. Loves to go skiing.
Yeah.
He talks about the grizzly bears. He didn't know what the hell a cell phone was up in Smithers.
Right.
You just
There's no cell towers up there.
You just yell from mountain to mountain, for Christ's sake. That's all. But he's truly a legend, and he's really the epitome of what the Flyers are all about. He embodies the code, kind of.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny, Hound. One time you were probably there. This was years ago when my dad was still trying to lace him up and play a net. You guys needed, I guess, whoever was playing goalie normally with the alumni, Perro, maybe David Perro used to play with you guys and stuff. We were playing at Pensacola, or you guys were playing at Pensacola, and you're playing like fire department or something, and they had a little kid out there, and you guys are winning 8-0, and Joe's losing his mind. He's fired up. I got a back check, Joe. Back check. Joe Watson. And my dad's in the net, so my dad gets a puck. He comes out to play the puck. Well, he starts skating down the ice a little bit. Just being a goof. The game's 8-0. It's a charity thing, and Joe's losing his mind. Get back in the net, and then they let the little kid come out, and his kid shoots, and my dad lets it go through. There goes the shutout, Joe. and my dad was like, "I told you he's nuts." I'm like, "Okay, I didn't know he was that into it, but it's fun watching him play and listening to him. He's fired up, man.
Oh, yeah.
He must have been. Was he like crazy when he played like that?
Very intense. Very intense. He's there early. It's all about hockey. I mean, we didn't have any music to listen to. We didn't watch TVs in there. I mean, he's just intense. You get in there, you worked on your sticks, and you chum with the guys and stuff like that. Really. Didn't you play one of your first games with us up in the Northeast Skate Zone?
Yes.
And didn't you play with Danny Briere?
Yeah.
And didn't you score 10 goals, 11 goals on open net?
I did.
And I keep yelling, "There's no contract coming, man. There's no contract coming. Share the puck around."
Man,
10
Danny
goals.
B just putting it on the tape every shit.
I was going to say, he will give you tap.
where
And
was
Joe's
Danny
yelling,
B?
"Jesus Christ, stop shooting, stop shooting. I got an open net. How can I not hit the net?"
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Stop shooting.
Joe hated when you get past the 7-8 goal mark because
really?
Oh yeah, because it slows down the game. He's like, "Miss the net," and you know what I mean, just like stop with the whistle.
Shoot over the net, hit the goalie in the head, and let it go by. Hit the boards, make it sound good.
Oh yeah.
And then Frank, the animal there, then he'd score goals. Jesus Christ, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, right.
Frank played men's league with me the one day. It was more of like a pickup instead of a men's league, and he scored about 12 goals. And every time he scored, he sallied.
Come
I'm
on.
like, dude, you don't have to celebrate out here. Like, you're playing with a bunch of kids and stuff. Yeah, Frank.
You get the big blaster from the red
he was
line,
just
shooting
everything,
high heat.
toe drag. He was doing it all with his no tape on his.
That's what makes a team is the individual antics that people do, the way their chemistry is made up. I mean, that's what blends into being a team. We all got different personalities,
right.
but we all have one common goal, and that's what to go out there and play hard and win. That's all.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I was just going back on Joe. Were you up in the game in Portland, Maine, against the Boston Bruins alumni? It was a few years back when Smoking Joe blew out his knee there.
Yeah.
I think we were on the I think we were on the ice together.
That was in Maine.
Yeah.
He went down. He went down there. I was just coming on the ice and was out there, but you could hear him. He was in excruciating pain right around the center ice, right?
Yeah. It was
And the
right
red line
over
there.
the blue line. You were on the ice, and myself too.
And I go over there to look at him, and he rolls over and he goes, "Jesus Christ, I got to go skiing tomorrow. I don't have time to be hurt here." So he ended up flying him back. He couldn't drive back in the car.
No. Yeah, but it was like you could hear a pin drop in the building because he yelled so much, and all you could hear was that he was yelling about his ski trip the next day with his nephew or something like that. That's all you could think about.
Good memory, good job on that one.
Yeah, I know, right? But when I think of Joe, I just think of like he played every game like it was the Stanley Cup, Stanley Cup Finals. Even like all these alumni games, he's first guy ready to rock, and he's getting guys ready to go and all this stuff.
Yeah,
I think it's
well,
amazing.
you're a tough guy, and I go back to when I was coaching on the bench there against the Warriors there, Jimmy Watson's rink last year, and I'm looking at the lineup going across there. What a huge team. I wouldn't want to get anywhere near any of those guys. I mean, from Terry Karkner all the way, they just got bigger. Jody Shelley out there.
Yeah, right, yeah.
I mean, the guys that came back, that was one of the biggest teams I've ever seen. And
Brownies.
can kick the crap out of anybody in the regular NHL, I think, anyway.
Yeah.
I remember laughing about that Fridgie Brownie.
It's crazy.
What now? Secord was there.
Jesse?
Jesse Bowleries. Like Dave Brown. I think we said Dave Brown already.
Yeah,
but
every other guy was like legitimate heavyweight
huge.
in their era.
Big team, scary team.
Yeah.
You try mixing a salad once in a while, I guess.
We were skill guys that day.
Yeah, you had to be. You had to be.
It was good, though. The Warriors really had a great time. The first time they've had a chance to really test themselves, kind of, whatever. And, John LeClaire was swimming all over the ice out there. Briere's making the plays. Nobody passed to. He's down swimming, squirreling there. So, but it was really good. It was good for everybody. So it's, all the way around, it's a win situation.
Yeah, for sure. Had to humble some of those guys, eh?
Yeah, right.
Devin Riccio and
Richie.
Phil, all those guys. They talk a big game. They were excited for that one.
Yeah, that was
You
cool.
do realize that Riccio is an ex-sniper, right?
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we were talking about with Marshy. We're like, this guy's a sniper. He can't find the net, though, when he shoots.
Roll out the cannon.
Sorry, Richie.
Different type of sniper, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
different type. Oh, that's for sure. Yeah. That's what Marshy said. This guy was a sniper? He can't hit the net.
Oh, good.
Yeah. We just want to talk about your career, obviously, and you're a third-round pick, and I think in today's game you've been a first-rounder.
Yeah, 32nd overall. Yeah. You need to call back and say, hey, where's that first-round money?
No, I think I'll pass on that.
Oh, that's great.
But you had an incredible career. 10 years with the Flyers, 2 with Washington, 2 Stanley Cups, and I was actually looking at your stats and amazed that not that I discredited your skill, but you had some really good numbers.
Yeah, you did
consistently, right? I mean, like.
Freddie say if I'm scoring goals, he's using me wrong, so I was happy with that. So
you're over 10 goals a year, a couple 20 plus goals.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Not to get ahead.
Shows your miracles do happen.
Yeah, right.
Well, you know what? Your good buddy and my dad said, Sudsy, not to get ahead, I want to talk about the Flyers, but he said when you got traded to Washington, you went in there and you scored 26. He said he set hockey back 10 years.
I did. I did. But, what happened is that, I had 10 great years here with the Flyers, so I get traded. It comes up to people, so. That year, our last game of the season, we were playing against Washington, and they had missed the playoffs the year before that. So they decided to fire the coaches down there. And I had, in the last game we had there, what's his name, Risling decided he wanted to run me and get things started. So there was no need to. They were winning. So anyways, we go through the duel, do the dance and stuff like that. We come up back, beat them, knock them out. Now you know what it's like being traded. So now you got to walk into their locker room after knocking them out. So it's kind of like a little bit in there. Plus we had the first year was great with Greeny down there and stuff like that. He was a really good coach. We had a good team. I played with Pee Wee and Prony. We got the points. Line played well. Still
power play time.
Still had some fights in there.
Yeah.
Fought Homer down there. He came tracking me down. Yeah. So it's all good stuff though. So then we don't make the playoffs, and so then they fire. They bring in Brian Murray. They bring in Roger Crozier, the goaltender I scored against in Buffalo, and they brought in another henchman. But they had no use for the older guys. So I played 18 games up until December. And I kept my house here and everything like that. So I just said, I went in there. I said, get me out of here. This organization sucks. And, just went downhill. So So I left down there on a negative note.
Oh, really?
It was not.
You mutually parted ways. You just,
just get me out of here. I had no use.
That was it. Eh?
No need to stay. Didn't want to.
Wow.
Weren't
Good
feeling
for
it.
you. I mean,
well, they got rid of Pat Ribble, left down there. Pierre Bouchard retired down there,
okay.
And Hank Slavin, I think he went out as well too. So they had no use for the young guys, and then. Brian Murray's theory is he threatens you with, I'm going to send you to Hershey. Well, that's not happening. I'll bring up that Francischetti kid or whatever was his name.
Oh, yeah, Lou Francischetti.
Yeah. Lou good kid, too. Yeah, I mean, it's not his fault. You go where you're told to go there. So he was good there. I mean, it's all good. So, you're going to go that way. So I tried to catch on with Boston. They just made a trade with Buffalo there. He was loaded with young guys up there. So I called Pulley in Chicago. He said, I'll take you. But he said, I'm full and I'm healthy, so you'd have to go to the out to the East Coast where the team was out there. And I said, I don't think I want to play in that. No, that's not going to happen. So I came back and I said, hey, Keith, I said, I got a great deal for you. Doesn't cost you any money. I'm not disruptive. I said, just just sign me so I can go out there, play against Washington just one game. That's all I want to do. And I said, I'm not marking the players, but I might go after the coaches. So, so he said, no, we can't do that. I said, all right. So I understand that. So it was time to move on and get involved.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you know when your time's up and when it's not feeling right, and if you're in an environment that's not overly productive for yourself, it's best to just
Good for you though, being able to do that.
Do it on your own time and
get me out of here.
Yeah, exactly, right. Yeah,
get me out of here.
But you touched on your big goal there, arguably one of the biggest goals in the Flyers' history.
Yes.
Walk us through that goal. I actually landed watching it this morning and feeling the energy of the Hound getting on the forecheck. But walk us through it, because it's obviously it's a pretty special moment for you.
Well, I was well rested. He didn't use me much in the game, so I had lots of energy, and it's just the way it works out. And the current guys get crap from the reporters and stuff like that because they don't practice a shootout. Like with Freddie, everything was repetitious. You can go out there and be sleeping and still go through the drills. And we practiced that drill coming around the net so many times. It was crazy. Homer started the 3-on-3 out there in the corners. We started doing all that. And you practice a shootout. And so it was something that we had done, and just the way it played out. And, thank God Korab didn't really get me real square, but he got
He's
me.
a big man, eh?
Yeah. Oh, he's huge.
Yeah.
He's huge. I'll tell you a story about him in a second. So anyways, I just come around the corner there, and Crozier moved his legs to go, and he opened up, so I just slipped it in there. So if you watch the trailer and that footage, I skate right over to the bench, and I said, hey, Freddie, you owe me $5, because the winning guy used to get $5 when we did these drills and the shootouts and all that stuff. So that's a tank of gas in the old day with the Corvette.
Right,
Yeah.
Fill your vet up.
It was good, but it was good, and got used at the right time and the right guys, and then Billy Clement put it away.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there any truth to in between the second and third period that the assistant coach went up to Fred Giroux and said, Hound's been sitting here, he's full of energy, I think we should put him out there?
Yeah, that was Mike Nikolic.
Mike Nikolic, yeah.
We were more afraid of Buffalo than we were of Boston. Even though I wasn't playing in Boston, we were more afraid of Buffalo because they had such highly skilled players. I mean, you got Perot out there, they're defensemen. I mean, those guys really could grind and play hockey. I mean, they could skate. I mean, they were a formidable team to go up against. But we were just happy the way it worked out.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought that was pretty interesting. I mean, you made a joke about like sitting there and having energy, but like that, there was truth behind that, where the assistant coach actually, obviously recognized that you were sitting there and you're obviously a bundle of energy. But to start the period, right? You started the period with Bobby Clark and Reggie Leach, I believe, right? Yeah. Which is a testament to as an assistant coach observing and maybe needing energy, but obviously it worked out. I guess if he would have been a dash, he would have probably lost his job.
Yeah. No, it worked out and was great. Like I said, the second cup was sweeter than the first cup because I think the staff who ran the Spectrum, for $5 you could come in the back door and you could stand there and watch where the Zambonis go. The doors are.
Yeah.
So then we win the game, they open the doors and all the people were out on the ice.
Oh,
so
right.
It was crazy. Schultze's trying to push people away, Billy Clement's trying to push people away and stuff like that. And then the second cup was sweeter because we got a chance to enjoy it in Buffalo. We got a chance to fly back with the cup.
Yeah,
and, got a chance to.
That was actually a question I was going to ask you, because I think we asked Billy Clement. I'm like, you win the cup, and all these people are grabbing and pulling and probably trying to grab the cup too. Like I was like, I think I asked Billy, was that like a pain in the ass? He goes, yes, it was fucking awful. But I thought you kind of answered that there. That's. Nowadays, obviously, if you jump on the ice, someone's knocking you out.
Oh,
you can't get on the ice, but
probably serving some jail time these days.
Yeah,
for that.
for sure.
So I'll take you back to Buffalo with Korab, right?
Yeah, please do.
So the boards were low there, if you remember, in Buffalo and that. So Korab's a big man, 6'4", whatever. So he gets drilled right at our bench, and he bends over the bench. So when he's over the bench, Billy Barber smacks him in the face gives him a punch, an uppercut. So he gets up. And he points over at Billy, and Billy said, I didn't do it. Clarkie did it. And he points to Clarkie next to him. This is the way teamwork is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So anyways.
You guys went back to back, right?
And then Freddie goes, okay, Clark, Kelly, and Leach again probably. And I go, oh, God, this is really going to hurt. So get out on the ice, and I'm going, well, what's the best way to fight this guy? I'm just going through my head. Korab starts skating towards Clarkie, so I just start kind of cruising there a little bit. Clarkie puts the cigarette. He said some expletives that I can't repeat. He said, basically, I'm going to hit you right over the head with my stick. And I'm kind of, really? And he's a great guy. Jerry's a really good guy. And he said, I think I'll pass on this one. And I'm going like, thank God I didn't have to fight him. So.
Oh, my God.
Wow, yeah, a little threat. Put him in, stop him in his tracks.
Clarkie.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's fucking great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's all about laughs.
Yeah, it is, right? Yeah. We'll talk about the the parades, because obviously, I mean, it's a community thing, right? I mean, you win in a city like Philly, and like just the buzz around it, and it's got. I mean, I've seen some of the pictures.
The aerial pictures are just amazing.
Oh, when Snider started it, Mr. Snider started there, it was 5,500 people in the building, and they put the third tier in there, and we're sold out. It was really hard to get tickets in there, so the city was pumped because there hadn't been a championship since 1960. Right. So the city was really pumped for it and had no idea really what to expect. The roads getting in and out of Philly are not like they are today, obviously. So you only had certain ways of getting in the highway, getting into the city, and they had no idea what to do. The Eagles was great because they had the barriers up. The players could get off the bus. They could walk a little bit. And we were riding inside cars with moonroofs, and finally like, people were pulling at you through the windows. They wanted to see us, so we all got up and started sitting in the back of the moonroofs. And the people are like walking right beside the car there. And, you know, you got all the strippers up on the poles up there.
Oh, darn.
You know, the grease up. You got the pictures we got down there in the lounge there. You've seen what that's like.
Yeah.
And they're right beside you. You have nowhere to go. And then, of course, Bernie, he decides he has to go to the bathroom. So he stops the parade. The parade keeps on going. We're way back here. For him to run in there, probably sign the toilet seat and whatever else he used. So, you know, legendary.
Yeah.
So somebody come up with a brainwave. Again, the finances weren't put out there with a lot of great thought that for the second parade, what we'll do is we'll come down Broad Street. We'll head to the park there, Roosevelt Park or whatever the hell it was called. But as we're coming down there, we're on a flatbed, just something you put your car on to tow it. And anyway, so we're driving down there, and everybody's going like, we got to go to the bathroom, man. We've been sitting on this thing for so long, cruising at no speed whatsoever. So, you know where the Penrose Bridge is, right? So the cops shut it off on this side. They shut it off at that side, on the airport side. Truck drives up to the top of the bridge so nobody could come over the bridge. And we all get off the bus. It's like, man, this feels good. It's all running down the road. So, you know, those are kind of the highlights that you remember. You have to remember
exactly,
those. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, big highlights there. Yeah.
Oh,
so we didn't have the
God.
luxury of a bus with the toilet on it. Or
Yeah,
stuff
right.
No, it wasn't part
No,
of it. maybe
it's a good thing there weren't cell phones then with the
100%.
cameras, you know. Imagine.
Well, when you see the parade of cops all the way down Broad Street following the line that it went and stuff like that, it was really cool. But like I said, you know, but there was no rioting, there was no looting, there was no damage, there was nothing. It was just, you know, just a joyous city. The city was awesome,
I bet.
man. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
we're still milking it 47 years.
Yeah, I know,
Hey,
right? Yeah.
hey,
Still
you know
a toast
what?
to the town.
It's a
Flyers land.
It's a big deal, though. I mean, you know, you win. It's so hard to win, especially even now too with the 32 teams, and they're you know pretty competitive for the most part. I mean, you see enough hockey, but it's a big time accomplishment 2 years in a row, and
It's just
you guys are legends, man. Seriously, you are though. You really are. You should be.
Well, you know, unfortunately, a lot of people are passing away. We lost Clark Gilly, 67 years old. I mean, obviously, Emil Francis just passed away at 95. He was in there. So many good. Mike Nicolak passed away. So, you know, we got some of our ex-players that have passed away in that, and it just hurts when you see that list up there. And you were on the ice for us something like when you're watching that. But it's part of life, so enjoy, and we did, and you move on.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think the interesting part about like how you guys won was obviously the creation of the identity of the Broad Street Bullies, and Ed Snider, you know, recognizing that, you know, we're not going to get pushed around, and that's how you guys defined yourself, and it worked obviously for a few years. Then I think eventually the other teams matched you guys, and it wasn't really much of an advantage. Can you talk about the mentality of the team, and then, you know, the city having that label?
Well, we tried to keep it simple, stupid. You know, we're farm boys. We just had fun.
Right.
But, you know, you got the three Plager brothers, and you got Picard from St. Louis, and they used to just crush and punish the Flyers. Because when the expansion started, there was only 12 teams, and you got the cast-offs. I don't mean it that way, disrespectful to them, but you got kind of the guys that weren't doing much being around there, so they got pushed around quite a bit. So Snider got tired of it. He said, we're going to change the culture. So, you know, he went out and he got Selesky, who was big. He brought Schultz in, that really was a goal scorer, believe it or not. And he brought him in because used to fight, and Davey knocked a guy out there, and got, hey, this is pretty cool. So, everybody, and you fought a lot of guys, so the mentality. The mentality is that like Schulte would fight for his reputation, whereas I would go out and fight to defend a teammate or something like that, somebody who got ran from behind or pushed or whatever, and you had the same similar things. Certain guys you want to go out and try. I watched some Aaron Asham fights there. They're good fights, but so we were kind of built that way. But when you got a guy like Van Imp and Joe Watson back in the back, and Barry Ashby, and the Hillmans were back there in the day and stuff like that, and you watch those guys, they bring so much leadership and so much the way they play the game. And like if Eddie could body check you, that would be fine, but he'd just sooner just spear you, and that was Eddie. You go near Eddie, he's going to spear you. So everybody had a different style. We brought in Paul Holmgren that kind of replaced Schulte, and then they brought in Ben Wilson, and he was right over the top. I mean, he was 6'3", 225, just a scary man with wiry eyes and stuff like that. And he doesn't cut; he can fight. And yourself as a fighter that every time you're getting ready to play a team, they bring somebody up who's supposed to go out and challenge you and match you. You guys ask for the dance. The old days, you just go out and dance and got it over with. But I remember we went into Detroit and they brought that John Hillworth up. If you remember him, he's 6'4", 225, long flowing locks. So opening shift. I happened to make the lineup again, which was nice. Schulte was out there. Ben Wilson was out there. And puck goes in the far corner, goes back. We win the draw, goes back in the back corner. And, all 10 guys are heading for the corner. Somebody goes to grab Ben, and Ben just moving away. Like he was focused on you. He went in there. First punch knocks him out. He grabs him as he's going down the ice. He kept hitting him and hitting him. He's already out. He's laying on the ice with the long hair, and Ben's smashing his head, into the ice. So that's the way we started the game there. Well, this is going to be a nice short day.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, so I mean, that's the way it was back in those days. Yeah. And now you got somebody who's a tough guy won't fight you. You used to have to ask the guys out and stuff like that. But that would be more for Schulte and for Ben. I don't.
Yeah.
When you guys, when Mr. Snider decided he was going to change the identity, was it something he addressed to you guys, or did you just kind of, or the coach, how?
I think Ed Snider gave a mandate to Keith Allen to go out there and get some stuff done. Get some stuff. I mean, and like you said, when the Islanders came in '72, they were fodder. I mean, everybody went through them. So in comes the Gillies, in comes Tonelli, Nystrom, Howitt, Billy Smith is smashed in the back of your leg.
Right.
You've been there, you felt that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of culture. Boston Bruins, you go in there, you got O'Reilly, you got Winsick, you got Jonathan. I mean, there's plenty of Looney Tunes you can have fun with, but all just quality people. That's just the way they play the game. So you respect that, and you go out and you do your thing. If you win, you win, and you lose. That's all.
Leave it all out there.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
We were talking. Riley and I were talking about this earlier, and I obviously we know my record in fighting. It's not good. I don't ever want to fight. I'm a lover, not a fighter. But we were talking about when you guys, Riley never. I don't know if you were ever in a bench clear, but I know it was kind of taken away. But when you guys are out there and it's everyone on the ice, are you at all in the back of your head worried about someone coming and suckering you, even though if you're one-on-one fighting, you know what I mean? No. Or did you just really, it's just
still
happening?
Respectful in the sense of a brawl, right? There was no guys just floating around and dropping guys.
We had some great brawls. Randy Holt, obviously, when he was with LA, that started in the Spectrum. That was a huge brawl. That one going on and stuff like that. I mean, everybody was throwing and having fun. But he was good. That Cummins guy, I can't remember his first name, but when he hit Clarkie over the head with the stick, so we emptied the bench. And in fact, we emptied the bench, had the fight. And then when we went out to play them in Oakland, I guess it was, we went right into the penalty box to get them. So
come on,
yeah, seriously,
wow.
There's some footage out there. But those are things that get going. But when you're involved in all that stuff, I mean, you grew up fighting as most of us grew up in street fighting, so it's no big deal.
Right.
I'd be scared.
I'd be scared to death. I'd be shitting. Unlike my dad, who would jump out there and fight in his street clothes,
and he did that too. He's got the pictures to prove it.
And then you see him, and you're like, "How the hell did he not get killed?"
So you're like, this is a quick story about your dad. So we're going to Peterborough to play hockey. We got the bus loaded up. We got Pat Fietto from Rexy's on board with us. With Dr. Carlino with us. We needed a doctor, and then God knows what went on in the back of the bus. I have no idea. So we roll into Peterborough to play. So we go out there in the tournament, and then we won. So wasn't over yet, but we won. But we had to stay Sunday, which nobody really wanted to stay Sunday. So we get out on the ice to start the game, to play the championship game. Clarkie just wants to get out of there. Pat Fiato wants to go home. Carlino's going to take a plane home. So just, suck it up, have some fun with it. So, first shift, Rick McClish wrists a puck, hits their goaltender in the head, knocks him out. He's down. They don't have a backup goaltender. So, what are we going to do now? Sudsy, because we had a backup goal. Yeah. Sudsy, get in the net down there. So he's in the net down there. I go down and stand in front of him, and he starts chopping the back of my legs. He's hacking my legs. He's pushing me and stuff like that. And it's called hockey, Bob, as he would speak. So about my second or third shift after that, I get out there. So I had a nice opportunity. The play was moving away from him, so I went through. I just cleaned him out of the net. I said, "It's called hockey, Suds." But your dad has so much. Your dad has so much character and stuff like that. He's so funny to be around. Kept the boys loose and stuff like that. And he played some pretty good goal back in those days.
He was an all-around athlete.
Yeah,
He was round.
That's the thing.
Still is.
He still is. Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious.
You were talking about leadership and Ed Snider, briefly there, and top down, right? I mean, leadership from the ownership, and then within the locker room, coach, and a guy like Bobby Clark and all these guys. They talk about the importance of that in your era, and how much of an impact it had on you guys' success.
Well, when you're a 19-year-old kid and you walk into the locker room and you see all these guys who are pros, some guys are aging in there and stuff like that. I mean, it's just an aura. It's just a respectful aura that you're just happy to be in there. Mm-hmm. Be like walking into Colorado's and you see all the stars sitting there, going to Edmonton, all the stars, and you wonder, I might have the wrong locker room. Yeah. You start looking around, but they, everybody just kind of it was just a respect all the way down the line, and Freddie was, like I said, he was perfect for us because he was out there. He's always giving us, fix his glasses like this, so you think he's giving you the finger. Like he'd walk in after practice. McClish hadn't been playing very well, so he walks in with a pail of water, sets it down in the middle of the locker room. Everybody's looking at him. He says, "McClish, get over here." So Ricky walks over. Yeah, what do you want? And he said, "Put your hand in that pail of water." So Ricky puts his hand in the pail of water. "Take your hand out of the water." Ricky takes his hand out. He said, "If you don't get your ass going, you're going to be like that, gone." So,
no way.
It's kind of one of his motivationals out there. And then another time we flew to Vancouver, and like the Moose would go 2-2, 2-4, 2-6, 2-2, 2-4, 2-6 on the weigh-ins, right? That's what his sheet looked like. And so some of the other guys were like that too. The same number. Well, we get to Vancouver, they do a surprise weigh-in. Yeah, it wasn't 2-2, 2-4, 2-6. It was like 2-10, 2-12, 2-14. All the guys' weights were different. So he wrote down, I was one of the fat club too. So we get back to Philly, and Freddie said, "Okay, you're all going to ride the bike." Well, we had one bike to share. I mean, we didn't have what you guys have today. So, Ben, if you go first, you're the oldest. So Freddie goes across the hall to his office. He starts drinking his beer and stuff over there. He walks back in. Here's Eddie Van Imp. He's cranked all the pressure off the wheel. He's laying on the floor, just turning the mileage thing like this.
Come on.
That was the way Eddie used to ride the bike. Yeah, he wasn't sitting on there sweating. So, I mean, you can't make stuff like that.
Yeah, that is great.
Legendary.
That's priceless.
That's crazy.
Oh my God,
that's pretty good.
And then, Clarkie used to do the Jack Lang commercials, so he didn't care about clothing. Like, there was a clothing store, so he'd get his suits and his pants and all that free. And so there's some guys that, as a professional, you need to dress right, you need to act properly when you're around people and stuff like that. So anyways, we had warned Wayne Stevenson that, your clothing is really gone. He wore old cowboy boots that were just awful. They were just awful. And kept telling him, you need to buy some decent shoes and look like a respectable pro that's out there. Yeah. So Wayne's out in the net there, and Bernie sneaks off the ice, goes in there, gets the saw, cuts both boots, cuts them right off here, and he takes them, he puts glue on them, he glues them to the ceiling in front of his stall there. So, I mean, pranks like that went on all the time, and Clarkie was brutal for cutting stuff because he didn't care. Cut your tie, cut your pants, cut your shoelace, whatever.
That's pretty good. And then to talk about, again, I'm going back to Ed Snider because I feel like he created such a obvious culture and got the city to rally behind his vision. And then, how 5 years ago now, Ed passes. Like, talk about like the essence of the Flyers since then.
Well, you try to pass stuff down. You try to. I mean, they need to pull off all the positives, and the positives is how the team plays.
Yeah.
I mean, how the team plays is the way the management handles you and stuff like that. But, I sat beside Clarkie for 10 years. Probably didn't like that, but I did anyways. And, after the game, get off the ice early, you're sitting there, and then Mr. Snider, after every game, came in.
Yep.
He's got those eyes. He looks right at you with the eyes, right?
Yep.
He wants to hear the answer. And I said, he asked me what went wrong. He said, don't ask me. I didn't play much. I said, ask Clark. I asked Clarkie when he gets in here, for crying out loud. So, we switch him around there. But I think it's just the culture. You come into a winning environment. You want to win. You want to play. But, when you hear the rumors, out of our locker room and other locker rooms where guys, I hate to come to practice. I'm dreading coming in there. We got our ass kicked last night or something like that. I mean, that's not what you want to hear. As soon as you turn off on the locker room, you turn off the guys, you're going to start to fracture out there.
Yeah,
for sure.
But he was great. I mean, polarizing. We had great parties with him down Rittenhouse Square, some of the famous restaurants down there. He'd open up $3,000 bottles of wine, the big magnums and stuff like that. So he knew how to party.
He did.
Kept
He was
the guys together, and like I said, whatever we wanted, he did everything to make the players have the best that they could have to be the best that they could be.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
And that's what I certainly noticed. I mean, win, lose, or draw, he's coming down and shaking your hand, and he said, like, staring you right in the eye. And you can't help but just absolutely respect that, right? I mean,
he's there. He wants to know.
Makes you feel right, of course.
I mean, there were times, over the years where it wasn't funny because, like, if we had a bad game and he was visibly pissed, he still came down, shook everyone's hand. But I remember the one night, Chief was coaching and Homer was the GM, and it was just a tough game. I can't remember exactly who it was against, but Mr. Snider came in and he was red, like he was mad, so he just kind of stay out of the way and don't say anything unless he says something to you. And he said hi to all of us, but the guys had the door closed, and he was like listening. He's like, what the fuck are they saying in there? I'm like, I don't know. And he's got his hand up and he's like, I'm going back down here. Let me know when the door's open. And I'm like, all right. So then he walked back down and he's talking to Homer and Chief, and he wasn't happy. And I'm like, said to Chief, what was he saying? And he was like, I don't really know. He was so pissed. I was just like looking at him. I wasn't really like, I was just watching his face. I didn't know if he's going to like punch me or something.
You're really, really intense. And like I said, everything that he does is all for the benefit of the team, for the city. So giving to so many different people, organizations, and stuff like that. And he's got tremendous credentials behind him as far as what he's donated to schools, to colleges, and stuff that he went to. And that. So I mean, he was the first one. Realize I started training camp in Quebec City, and I played against Montreal my first game. I managed to hang in there. My second game was against Detroit, so I'm out there with Gordie House. It would be a good time to get an autograph and stuff like that. And then the third game was against Boston, and Mr. Snider was down there. He wants you to do well. He's there, so we break camp there in Quebec City. So now we're going to Hershey, and of course, the way the world was, like, we didn't have GPS and all that crap. And the deepest I'd ever been in the States was Buffalo. So I'm saying, like, how do you get to Hershey? Like, where's Hershey? What's Hershey all about? So Doug Favell was from St. Catharines, so I followed him down there. Survived a week down there, 2 weeks in Hershey. Now we're coming to Philadelphia. I go, like, where's Philadelphia? The road. I told you the roads.
Yeah.
That sounds so old and archaic, but like that's the way we kind of grew. So I said I got to check out the Spectrum because it's behind LA and it's behind New York. So it's a pretty cool place. Got to be cool. So I follow Favy back again, and then I go in there and I walk down the ramp, and I'm standing there looking around inside, like just in total awe compared to the way we were. I mean, this is pro, man. Like, we had just come out of junior,
right?
And all of a sudden, there was a hand on my shoulder. It's like, it was Mr. Snider standing there in the suit. So that's the first time that I met him. So that's how I started. It's like, ooh, Mr. Snider, yeah.
Mr. Snider, yeah.
You guys didn't have maps back then?
Still can read a road map. I'm from Canada. We don't have a road map.
It's down south somewhere.
Just head south.
Well, in Boston there, when they want to get rid of people, I think it was either Crispy or somebody in that area out there. Somebody wasn't having a good camp, and the GM told him, get in your car, drive 500 miles west. When you get out there, 500 miles, call me. So whoever it was called back and said, okay, I'm out here 500 miles. And what the hell are you doing out there? Like,
Come on.
True story.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh,
Things were crazy back then, that's for sure.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the new NHL? I mean, obviously, Broad Street Bullies evolved over time, right? They're still fighting in hockey for, the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and then eventually they're trying to wean it out. to the point where now it's like, essentially almost out of the game, right? I mean, I think that the leader in the NHL got 6-7 fights in a year, but the high skill. What are your thoughts on just the evolution of the game?
Well, it's definitely a different game. It's played differently. They train differently. They eat differently. All the stuff is out there. It's you're kind of like dump the puck in and go grind the guy and battle for the puck out. They still battle hard along the boards, but they don't really like kind of finish the hard battles.
Yeah.
You can't fight the fines are so extensive anymore. Like Goody was up in the press box when he was serving that long 8-game suspension or something. So I said, Goody, I said, man, as soon as I see you out on the ice. But on the other hand, we really like your fine money. I think it was over $100,000. So we really like your fine money because it comes back in the NHL Players Association,
right.
Stuff like that. It's well used. I said, we like that as soon as I see you out on the ice. But, as bad as you may think some of the games are and stuff like that, it has its moments where it's high and low. Like when you're watching, some teams are a little more aggressive, some teams are a little more passive. More teams are puck possession as far as just dumping and grinding. That's kind of not done other than throwing around the boards there. But I can't really say I've been disappointed in the last 4 or 5 years with the playoffs. The playoffs have been strong.
100%.
Yeah,
Guys come to play.
Yep.
They're hit and they play. You're a fighter. I think you and I were chatting before. So you drop your gloves to hit a guy with a helmet on and a face shield on, cut your hands up. Like, why do you want to do that? Leave your glove on, make the first one or two with the glove on, and then throw it away. You've hit him, but meantime, you're just taking your really good hand and you're cutting it all to pieces. So it's crazy.
True.
I mean, there's too much damage in there. But good fight. The guys will fight. You know that.
Yeah.
And they're in great shape and everything. But it's just, it's very expensive, and it's like, do I really need to fight this guy? Like who the heavyweights? I thought. That Cole kid the other night there, I think that was a pretty good little scrap there.
Oh, with McEwen.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
Good little scrap there. It's nothing wrong with that.
I really liked Zach's game.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, the old story when he came up, right? Don't come up here with a reputation. Come up here and go do it.
Right.
If you want to stay, go get noticed.
100%.
Go do something that somebody can say, man, he covers this check. He makes smart plays. He's in on the puck. He's defensively minded and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you want to stay, go get noticed. Don't just come in and blend.
Right.
That's it, yeah.
It's
He's been one of the highlights of the season, in my opinion, for the Flyers.
I agree.
Hasn't been a ton. But the game is so highly skilled, which I do appreciate, the ability that some of these players have. I mean, most of them. You don't find a bad skater no more. You said the amount of training, sports-specific training, like how lean these guys are. I mean, they obviously pour a ton into it. I guess there's some times where it just goes so skilled, and maybe to your point where it's like such a possession game. Sometimes, back in the day, you wouldn't try and dangle a guy at the blue line. It would be like put it behind him and get on the forecheck, right? Where I feel
that's a different skill set, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. It was the only skill, maybe the only skill that I had was getting it by the defenseman there. But there's times where I just feel like where is that like essence that in maybe in certain situations that maybe could be missing, where I just feel like it's almost too skilled, and it's just like, we'll just come off the ice, didn't execute on a pass. I just feel like sometimes you just gotta dig in a little more and find those puck battles.
Well, the fans want to get behind you, but you got to show them something to get them excited. So the good plays coming in there. I mean, like you said, some of those plays where they just hang that goaltender out to dry, they take them all over the place, and then they shoot it on the other side, or everybody roofs it out there. It's all up underneath the crossbar. Yeah. So everybody goes in the butterfly. Why? The pucks keep going over your shoulders. So stand up for crying out loud.
Yeah.
But it's just so changed when the old days, and you grew up kind of with those, that all you had was a scoreboard. It wasn't all the games and all the stuff, but people want to be entertained. It's a younger crowd coming in now. We had that whole loft area up there, for younger people coming in on a college ticket, and you get to the point to where everybody's pumped. They're watching what's on the screen. They get excited. Gritty's there, and they drop the puck, and then place is dead silent.
Yeah.
And then they fire up again. So you got to give them something to cheer about, and that's with his aggressive play. But like you said, when you're playing a puck possession, and Carolina really moves that puck around well. St. Louis moves the puck really well.
Time,
they keep it away from you, and you're like, holy Christ, I couldn't play this way. You'd be skating around in circles.
Yeah, right.
It was funny the other night obviously I saw you, Hound, but they're a big team. But they move that puck like no one has a puck on their stick longer. I mean, it's just boom, 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 just all over the place, and they were hitting. I mean, Flyers played hard.
Yeah.
But they were
hung in there.
outmatched with the injuries that they have right now. But
Then you come down to the playoffs, and Edmonton gets knocked out, Toronto gets knocked out. All the big teams. Like Montreal went to distance, and now they're below us. I think.
Yeah,
they
right.
are.
So it can change in a hurry with a little bit of talent. Goaltending is still huge out there.
Yeah, true.
It's just a different game, and I think you got to come and just take the whole thing in. You can't just totally focus on. I mean, you want your team to win. We don't want to go another 10-game losing streak, but everybody wants to win, so they're not disheartened going by, and you get some positive vibes, something positive in the newspapers. It's good for a change.
Yeah, for sure. We're coming up on the trade deadline. I don't know how much you pay attention to it, but obviously Claude Giroux's been here since he was drafted, and let's be honest, he's going to get traded. I hope he gets his 1,000th game here, but and saying that he may not. But what are you thinking down the stretch here? Because they have a few pieces they could move. I know Ristolainen's probably someone that teams would want on their a playoff team. May want a big physical guy like himself, right-handed, shot. And but what do you think down the stretch here?
Well, it's not my pay grade.
Right.
So.
Mine either, but it's fun to play, armchair GM.
Well, I read Twitter a lot. I don't tweet, but I read all this stuff. And people are cruel on there. They're just so cruel.
Eh?
Like, Giroux doesn't need to be here for his 1,000th game. Let's move him now so he doesn't get hurt. And to me, that's sad because you got a guy here that's given so much to the organization. He's a staple. He's a leader out there. He's been that way. He's tremendous in the community. He's good with people and kids and stuff like that. I believe he deserves to play his 1,000th game here in Philadelphia.
Agreed.
He's deserving of that. And then, the decisions are his from there. But there's some movable pieces out there. Like you said, you don't know what you can package together, what you can get back. And obviously, they're trying to get the best back in draft and rebuild a team. I mean, if you're not in there, you don't know the coaching mentality. You don't know what the GM's mentality is. You don't know what they're trying to make or build for next year. But obviously they want to maximize it. But I'm not sure if that's going to really happen. I don't. Many teams can get that squeezed in under the cap.
Well, that's it, right? The cap complicates it. Obviously,
does.
It's not that easy. In theory, it's like, just move them. There's 31 teams that would love to have them.
I could see him doing a 3-way trade to get a team that's not their salary cap's not that high to how they work it. They do that sometimes. Maybe that happens, but I think it's going to happen for sure.
Yeah, and get creative.
Unfortunately.
Well, I think he's agreed to have conversation.
Yeah,
right.
I don't know if it's what team wants to be a dance partner. I mean, who knows? But there you got Edmonton's got a lot of talent, but they haven't made the playoffs.
Yeah,
Toronto's got a lot of talent, but they haven't made the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
They get knocked out.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. I would love to see him go to St. Louis.
I would
for
too.
Chief. I don't know how they're going to make that deal work, but I just feel he would slide right in, not have that pressure. Kind of like Karts and Richie back in the day going into LA, and just kind of you're no longer that the go-to guy. You slide in whatever 2 or 3, and play, get some power play time, second unit probably. But his relationship with Chief, he has absolute respect for Chief, and that could be just me dreaming. But I'm just like looking around and seeing teams that you could potentially fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a good dream, and that would be a good fit, and give Claude a comfort level.
Yeah.
But then again, the decisions he makes are going to affect his family too. But that's all part. We know that when you play hockey, you can get traded at any moment. So that's just part of the game. You just suck that up, and away you go. So, someplace where he can go and he can be happy would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And you were here 10 years. That's a long time to be with one team, and he's been here longer than that.
Yeah,
15.
So it's it's probably in the back of his head is like, what's this going to be like? He's never been anywhere
culture
else,
shock,
right?
obviously.
Like and just like for you went to Washington, ended up not really liking it because you were here, and I feel like the Flyers were the best organization as far as the way it was done with Mr. Snider. So
well, when we traded Kimmo Timonen away, to Chicago at the end there.
Yeah.
So he goes there. He gets a couple games in, right? Not a whole lot, and then they do put him into the playoffs. But I mean, he wasn't the big part. Right. He wasn't a big missing part. So you get your name on a cup, and like I love Kimmo. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
But it's just like do you really feel fulfilled inside because you really weren't there for all the adversity and the highs and lows of the team and everything that went on with it throughout the course of the year. Like you really didn't bleed and suffer with him, whatever. You just stepped in there as a part that can help out. And I had the same experience with the first Stanley Cup because I got knocked out in the Rangers series, so I didn't play in the Boston series. I was ready for Game 6, but
That's right.
I didn't want to jeopardize it. But the second game was more satisfying, not because I scored the goal, but because, I got to go start to finish.
Right.
Right.
And
Fully invested in the.
Yeah. So you're in there. You got to go in and bleed with the guys. You got to suffer with the guys, the highs
100%.
and lows and stuff like that. So I just hope wherever he goes, that it's going to be a good factor for him, where he feels good about getting out of there. Like he really, and he's got the skill level to really help promote that team and play well for that team. So he brings a different element to there than a lot of the other guys who get traded at the deadline.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic when you put it that way, right? Because you look at we lost in 2010 to Chicago, right? I mean, that was one of those up and down seasons, but we go the distance and we land up losing. And you say like, okay, well, all these guys have been here all year, and you win the cup, and then it's like, okay, you're fully part of that team. But there's so many years that guys either go the distance or close to the distance and grind, and then they don't win, and then but then there's these situations like you're talking about where you're a wanted player and you go and you kind of just like patch a hole. Like you say, Chemo, he's like 6th, 7th, 8th defenseman, right? I mean, that year. But he's like, he understands where he's at in his career. He's not at the prime anymore. He's battled for years and years, never won it. But like the ultimate dream is to
raise that cup.
To raise the cup, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and then you could kind of like retire and say, well, I did it, right? And fulfill that. Even if you're playing a lesser role and you haven't been a huge part of that team, it's almost like you've paid your dues for so many years that you've earned it indirectly. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does, and I think Claude would get not only the respect, but he would get the work part of it as well too, which is what he wants. I mean, he excels on the ice, and that's what they want him for. He wouldn't have to come in and take over the leadership,
exactly,
or be part of the leadership. Just let me come in here, let me play, let me be mind free, let me go out and do my thing, and I'm just here to play. I mean, he's such a quality hockey player.
Yeah, and he's such a competitor, man. Like people don't realize. Everyone gives him shit for not being whatever their version of a captain is, but like this guy competes. Who did we have on? Joel Farabee and Carlo Carliacovo talking about his leadership, and I play with him, and you see this guy compete in practice and stuff like that. But if you could add this guy, going into your stretch before the playoffs, I mean, again, he's a quiet leader, but he cares, he competes, and he would be a perfect addition to any team, obviously, but. To have a guy like that not just competes, but high-end skill, complement any player he plays with. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
I think it's one of those things.
The question is, like, if he went there and competed and say they win the cup, and that, like, would he come back to Philadelphia? Would Philadelphia want to build in that direction? Are they thinking about rebuilding, say, different people, youth or whatever? I mean, I have no idea. They're just thoughts that are out there.
Sure.
Like, maybe hangs him up when he's done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not about the money; it's about the cup.
Yeah,
right.
Of course.
I think the shape that he's in and the way he's worked the last few years, it's like Joel say. I think he does too. And I mean, if he finishes, with a point, like I don't know, I think he's leading them in points or right there. There's some teams are going to pay him or going to try.
Yeah.
Try to still get paid. Like and like you said, it's not about the money at this point. He's made a ton of money. But he's a pretty good piece to add to a team, and you hate to see him not play here, really, to be honest, But
wouldn't the long range goals, pal, like if you're a team and you're getting ready to acquire him, and you know that he's free at the end, like wouldn't you want to try to tie him up? Like, can you get him to commit to play for a couple more years?
Right. Yeah, we talked about that too. Exactly.
That's what you kind of they would hope for. If he just comes in and he said, I'll just come in and play with the balance and that's it. I mean, they may look at you differently. I mean, you have no idea.
Yeah, because you're going to give up quite a bit.
Yeah,
probably
exactly.
give him at least a first-round pick, probably a player or two as well. I mean, I would think. I don't know that, but yeah, you might want to try to sign him, right? But if he does go to Colorado, like their cap's fairly high, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think they
moved past. I think Colorado has moved past them from right.
Oh, okay.
Really? I think. I mean, it's kind of. I mean,
I think I heard rumblings of that too. I don't know if it's true or not.
Yeah, I mean, we're all speculating here, anyways. But
where's Debo and Baller? We should know this, boys. Let's go. You guys are supposed to have this info.
I heard that he's opened up. He's wanting to go to more teams now. He's added Carolina and Florida to his list of teams.
Carolina,
they're scary good.
Yeah, they're scary.
Be a good
right?
fit there, going back with Rod.
Yeah,
yeah,
Roddy.
Right, yeah. 100%.
That team's good, man. That team's good.
Yeah, so got some
Watch them play fast.
So what do you guys think about the coaching situation? Do you think Yo stays? Does he stay as an assistant? They bring in a head?
I was going to ask you that, Hound. I was going to say the players, I know that they really like Yosi, and you can see they're competing. They're playing as I feel like they are. They're playing hard for him, but what do you do there? Like, you're a former player. You're a former player. They definitely respect him. I think, every guy we talk to, they like it.
Yeah.
But what do you do? What do you do?
Again, it's not my pay grade.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And my opinions don't count because I just wouldn't know. I mean, they've got a lot of issues they got to try to work through.
100%.
Exactly. They really do. They really do.
I mean, my opinion is going to next season, just like almost starting from scratch and having a new face, new voice. I mean, this year is an absolute write-off, and I know the guys respect him.
Yeah,
it's just such a challenging year. Like you said, there's so many different issues. But when they first fired AV, I was hopeful for whether it was Rick Tocchet or John Tortorella. I think a guy like Torts, he's a completely different personality, right? Come shake it up. Maybe he wouldn't have done a whole lot this year because there's so many injuries and really didn't have a whole lot of substance. But I think like going in the off season, you just got to have a completely different attitude, a different vision, maybe just different voice. But that's just my opinion. I just think there's something powerful about having a presence like some of these guys. I know their shelf life is pretty short. I guess Torts, wears on guys. Maybe talk. I don't know, but just a different vision. And I don't know Yo. And again, he's a good guy from my understanding. He's a good teacher.
Really good guy. Yeah.
But I don't think the coaching is the problem. I think you got to stay healthy. Obviously, I think they look at teams that are winning. They hit on their picks a lot more. Their higher end picks land up performing as high-end picks. I think there's just been some lulls in the draft for guys that maybe have underachieved. I don't know. I think there's a few flaws there that I'm not sure you're going to correct them in one off season either. But
yeah,
I kind of would like you brought Torts' name out. I would sooner see Torts in here as opposed to Tox. Tox had such a great career here. He's done everything. He's enjoying his new career.
He's
getting there.
Sure.
It's less travel for him and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's getting comfortable on TNT.
I think you need that face, like you said. That's a total different face coming in and getting in front of you.
Yeah.
You got to respect him for what Torts has done and stuff like that. So I would sooner see him here than say Tox. Love Tox to death.
Yeah.
But
you got a good point there. Yeah, for sure.
But somebody who's going to come in there and the guys are going to pull back a little bit and say, it's an ex-hockey player. He'd be cool. I can hang with him type thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But with the Chief, there's no bullshit with the Chief.
Yeah.
Right.
He's in your grill too. So
yeah.
But,
no, that's a good point. We did actually talk about that. Two respected coaches, but to talk, he said he's kind of made his name in Philly, and he's more of a real true players coach. Right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. I think that's kind of like the way it's going. But I think if you really want to have a presence, like a guy like Torts, he's in your face. It's a different direction altogether. He's not a former Flyer, so you can't be knocking on bringing Flyers back in the organization or whatever and that. But his shelf life is somewhat short because I think that real old school way of getting in people's faces is it's somewhat devolved, right? I mean, it's but the guys will respond to it. At least get the guys to compete, and I think that's really at the end of the day what fans in the organization wants.
Well, Brindamore's really got Carolina popping. I mean,
oh my God,
yes.
They buy into him. He's in there. I mean, they've played some of his riveting speeches in the locker room.
Yeah.
And that.
Yeah.
He's not a shy kid. He's a really good guy. I remember him when he first came in here. So
Yeah.
Yeah. And they got some high end skill there. I mean, it's.
But he's into it. When he played. I mean, I've told you before, competitor and always ready and always doing extra. I can just only imagine him as a coach being in there.
The best shaped guy in that locker room.
Marty St. Louis is the best player Montreal has.
Yeah, I know, right? That's true. He's ran off a couple now, haven't they? Ran a couple games. Yeah, they started winning a little bit.
He played gutsy, man. He played tall.
Oh yeah,
yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he really
competed
did.
in the dirty areas.
God, his ass and legs are so goddamn big.
Oh, yeah, he's
holy
stocky.
cow! I don't know how he ever got knocked down. Plus, he's low centered. He was a little guy, but he played against when I was with the Phantoms the second year when we won the cup. The first time he was in St. John's, New Brunswick. He played on that team, and he was a good player then.
Oh, I bet.
And, I knew a little bit about him because he had played at Vermont. He was at John Claire's tournament. So I knew who he was, but he was a good player. But you're right, he might be their best. He might be the best player in Montreal right now. Yeah.
Well, we talked about this with Marshy. I don't know if you saw Marty St. Louis' interview when he first got hired, but he was talking about instinctive hockey versus this like overly structured system play where it almost takes away. Well, it does take away, high end skill players' creativity. But he was talking like very openly about some of these conversations that we've talked about, just like letting guys play, letting them make mistakes and being okay with it as long as they're like respectable mistakes and not like, ridiculous ones, but instead of being so overly structured with the system, like just letting skilled guys be skilled and playing intuitive hockey versus this very rigid structure. You hear that? Do you agree with that?
Well, I didn't hear that, but if Marshy said something along those lines, I believe what he said there. But it's true. I mean, you have a certain skill set. Like you're not going to stick handle through the whole team and score a goal. That's not you.
No.
You're going to go out there and grind some bodies through and play your game. So let you do your stuff. But also, people who are out there on the ice with you know that, hey, we might have to cover up for you. When you get, like Proby goes down the ice, he starts going into the corners and charging down there. So somebody's got to know to back him up.
Right.
So you're letting him go. He's got the momentum going. So you got to kind of respect and kind of blend all the people's different skills together, I think. And like you said, it's a game of mistakes. Whoever makes the least of them is going to win the game. But then, you have a structure in place, and then you're allowed to deviate from that. But amongst your line, I think you got to know how to work with each other.
100%.
Yeah.
So
True.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like the bottom six guys obviously have a lot less rope than the top six, right? As far as making some of those high risk plays.
Yeah, the high risk are the ones that bury you.
Yeah,
especially getting down to the end of the game.
For sure. Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's more of an adjustment towards the end of the game, knowing the time and the situation, right? Where it's like, okay, maybe we won't try and make this play at the far blue line, and maybe we'll put it in a soft spot in the corner and go get it, right? Versus trying to dangle.
Well, I've watched the skill set on a lot of guys because we're down there at the games like you guys are all the time
Sure.
and stuff like that. And I can tell you right now, there's stuff that they do out there that we couldn't even think about doing.
It's incredible, isn't it?
The way they pick the puck up, they handle it, they flip around. Lucky to have the same puck and the same stick together.
Right.
I've been out there with Riggs a couple times, and the pucks ends up in a couple different pieces.
Yeah,
so I'm not really.
you're lucky if the puck's is still in one piece, man.
Come
Take
back,
that
they're
as a
all
win.
chipped
Yeah,
up and
they're
everything,
chipped up.
snarls on them, black.
Yeah, exactly.
I've softened the mitts up lately there, Hound.
Yeah, he's
Goal
in the
scorer
men's
now.
league. He's a goal scorer now.
Yeah, well, God love you, keep playing.
High risk player now.
Yeah, turnovers at the blue line. I'm yelling at him.
Oh,
Yeah, it's skill, and some of these kids, like the smaller kids that you've seen out on the ice there, some of these kids, they can pick that puck up, roll it around their blade, turn around.
It's
I mean,
incredible.
Some of the stuff that you see out there is crazy. I mean,
my God.
it's definitely a skill, and skill gets noticed.
Yeah.
Hound, I have a feeling if you would have back in the day, if you would have been playing in some little or any player did one of those like the Michigan, you probably would have broken their arm with the lumber, or just steamrolled them. Yeah, I remember seeing a thing. I think it was in the movie with where Dorney said when things were a little stale and we needed to get it going, the Hound would get out there, and next thing you know, the place was popping.
Well, you try to create a little bit of excitement, so it's I got lost energy. They didn't use me that much, so I was ready to go whenever they wanted me. So it's all good. Dorney, I used to drive Dorney nuts. We all lived in Barrington Manor when we came down here. You know what that place is like. And Dorney was up top of me in that, of course. No, he was below me. I'm sorry. I was on top of him with Serge Bernier. And, we're young, we're single and stuff like that. Yeah. And he'd be down there in the morning because he got 2 kids in there. I felt bad. I really felt bad. He'd be pounding the ceiling up. Go to bed, you dumb. And,
yeah.
It's the place is just... It is what it is, but like some of the Phillies lived in there, the original Jersey Devils lived in there.
Oh my God!
A couple of the Eagles lived in there. Byron Brown from the Phillies was in there. Yeah, so there's a lot of guys in there.
Yeah,
I guess there were no late night parties or anything.
It's awful, awful. But we're here. We survived.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's awesome.
Live to tell about it.
Oh man.
Right on. Well, we appreciate you, Hound. I know you got to get going, rocking the Wells Fargo, getting some work done. pounding the pavement, but we appreciate you in the community, everything you've done for the Flyers, and giving your time today.
That's a pleasure. I appreciate being on your show, and you guys do a good job. I watched some of your episodes and stuff like that, and it's good that you guys are out here and you're rocking it and you're keeping hockey in front of everybody. So it's very entertaining.
Yeah, thanks. Trying to have
Thanks
some fun.
to you.
Thanks,
Thanks to you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thanks,
My
Hound.
thoughts. Thank you.
That episode was brought to you by our friends at Fans of Philly, fansofphilly.com. Nasty, you ready?
Am I ever, man? I cannot wait. Smashville, we're coming for you. Bunch of us.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait,
500
man.
Flyer fans ready to rock.
Probably
Beautiful
more now.
weather.
Yes.
Yeah, probably more now. Flyers got to win in the last 17, so we're good.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I can't wait, man. It's going to be awesome. I know we talk a lot about it, but Joe and those guys, they just do a great job, man. It's so much fun. I cannot wait, especially Nashville. I just can't wait, man. It's been a couple of years since I've been there, so I'm excited.
Yeah, it's been a minute for me too. So March 27th, we'll see you guys there.
Day after that, that's right. And the day after that, Sudsy's birthday, if he shows up in Nashville.
Oh, look out. Bringing the jungle juice.
Oh, my God. He'll probably drive there with it, let it sit in the car, with all his fruit. This guy's banned from any parties I ever throw anymore.
Yeah, he'll bring the multi-grain goldfish and the...
For you.
Yeah, for me. Yeah, right.
He knows you're a healthy eater. He knows you're a healthy eater.
Yeah, because multi-grain goldfish are so healthy.
Well, it's healthier probably than some of the shit he puts in his body. So.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
we'll take it. We'll take it as a win.
We got to get him some Mangzy. We got to get him some of that Mangzy.
Oh,
you and I like
dry
crush.
mango from Trader Joe's. Yeah, we got that one as a sponsor.
We have to
supply the fuel for the boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, a huge thank you to the Hound, Bob Kelly.
He is awesome. God, he's a beauty.
Yeah.
Tell you what, I still think he could chuck him. I would not want to.
Man.
I would not want to be in a fight with that man. He's in unbelievable shape for his age. He's strong as an ox, man. God.
Yeah.
But
he looks like he could go squirrely now and then too.
Yeah. One thing I failed to bring up, just because he was talking about everything, was him. My dad worked for him one time, and just some punk that was there working. It wasn't construction, but they were in some building, and they were kind of tearing things apart. And this guy got lippy with Hound, and Hound was nice and said, "Hey, relax, man." Like, explained the situation. The guy is just running his mouth, and my dad's like, "Hey, buddy, like, you might want to take it down a notch." And he kind of stepped to the Hound, and the Hound just grabbed a hold of him. And I think from what my dad said was he felt how strong he was. He backed down right away. Kind of like when I grab a hold of you and you're like,
the old death grip.
Nas, whoa,
Nas, you better settle down on those.
I'm a $170 now, Nas. Don't fucking grab me. But what a great guy, man. 2-time Stanley Cup winner. Could play the game too, but it's great watching the highlights and hearing guys talk about him and him talk about, the team. And when they need a little spark, the Hound got her going out there a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt. And even more importantly, how good of a guy he is in the community. I mean, you think about like how many years he's been banging the drum in the Flyers community and how many appearances he has under his belt, man. This guy is, besides Joe Watson and Bernie Perron, I mean, probably the most recognizable, ambassador. I mean, that's visible in the community on a regular basis anyways.
Exactly. And like he said, during games, he's everywhere. But, even when Elvis's team did the Mites on ice, it was awesome. He was down there a lot, and he just made the kids feel so like he was just so good with them. And they just thought it was so cool. He was down there, he had a couple pictures, and they're like, oh, he won the Stanley Cup. Cause they're 7 years old. Not all Elvis knew who he was, but once, they found out who he was, they just thought it was so cool. And he was just so happy to be there. You could tell like he enjoys it. So you're right.
He enjoys it.
He does so much, like you said, the community and for the Flyers and just a great guy. So happy to have him on.
Absolutely. A big thanks again, the Hound. Look forward to seeing you sooner than later. And that's a wrap, Nast.
That's it, boys.
Episode 64 in the books.
Yes. 64. Woo!
Stay tuned for episode 65 next week. Until then, stay safe, knuckleheads.
See you, knuckleheads.